The Divergent Series Allegiant, or as you pronounced it when you read it off the list, Allegiant.
Yeah, well, there are some, the hardcore, actually, the real fanboys and girls, that's how they say it.
Really?
No, I just thought if I said it
okay.
with confidence.
Well, let's just start off with a clip which I think explains how it's said.
Okay.
The Allegiant. That's what you're calling yourselves.
Amity just doesn't seem appropriate anymore.
So what exactly are you Allegiant to? The faction system?
The factions kept Chicago peaceful for a long time.
Well, I wouldn't know about that because I was forced out of my faction. I gave up my life, my child, everything.
I understand your anger, Evelyn, I do. But the way forward?
The way forward has already begun. I know I said I'd be alone, but I'm not Candor, and I'm not Amity. So I will lie, and I will fight if I have to.
You see these scars? I wasn't born Amity. And I can assure you, I'm not afraid to fight for what I believe in.
The fact that they call it Allegiant, by the way, in the movie does not mean that I'm wrong.
Oh, it doesn't mean that it isn't pronounced Allegiant.
There are some people that say that Allegiant is far more true to the original, yeah.
And you know that they've divided the... So it's one of these weird things, okay? So trilogy, but they've divided part 3 into 2 parts. So next year we're getting the Divergent series Ascendant. But there is also a box set, isn't there, which is the Divergent trilogy, which has got 3 books in it, the 4th book being called 4.
Yes.
Which has got short stories from the series. Is that right? Do you remember when Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy came out? And it was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Restaurant at the End of the Universe, and then Life, the Universe and Everything. And then So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. And the joke was the 4th in the trilogy. And then the 5th was, is it Long Dark Tea Time and Solo, or is that Dirk Gently?
I think that's Dirk Gently.
There's another one, isn't there, which became the 5th in the increasingly unwisely named Hitchhiker's Guide trilogy. Anyway, in the case of this, I have felt for a while that it's hard to distinguish between the YA dystopian themes that are going on in the warring franchises. So, whereas Hunger Games has always been really clear. I mean, I understand exactly where Hunger Games came, and I still hold, incidentally, that Hunger Games came about because of the success of Twilight, and Suzanne Collins did allow Hunger Games to happen. And I know a lot of people love Hunger Games who hate Twilight. You wouldn't have one without the other. However, in the case of Maze Runner and this, and then there was another one recently which isn't going so far. I said, reviewing the last movie, I kept expecting the cast of the Maze Runner to come over the cliff into the Divergent series, and they would cross, and they would go, "What are you doing?" "Well, we're fighting the factions thing." "What are you doing?" "Well, we're trying to get out of the maze, and we're running with the maze. We're doing some Scorch trials. Do you want to, swap?" And then they go off in their own way. In the case of this, in which they've taken the book and split it in half, and this time we go beyond the walls of Chicago and out into the fringe lands, and then to meet Jeff Daniels, head of the Bureau of Genetic Welfare. And Jeff Daniels does that thing, which is that he smiles, and the minute he smiles, you go, okay, not a good man. Can tell just by the way that Jeff Daniels is smiling. And then there's a lot of treading water. There's an awful lot of Basil expositioning. There's one scene in it in which the plot is basically explained.
That might be quite useful for people like you who seem to be confused about the whole nature of the movie.
Yeah, but the underlying problem is that the whole faction system, that these ones are ardent and these ones are truthful, and these ones, I can't remember what they break down into now. Can you remember what the factions are?
No, but my favourite is the out-of-work actors who come storming around basically saying, "Hi, we're out-of-work actors. Look at us thrusting and jumping and leaping in a manly and..." Yes, all manly, actually. And we wear vests the way no one else can wear a vest.
Yes, I think they're called fighty, aren't they? They're the fighty contingent.
I want this to be good. I have to... But Child 3, yes. I was standing next to Child 3 on the tube next to the poster, and he looked at the poster and said, "That's rubbish."
Oh, on the basis of the poster? On the
basis of the poster.
Well, the unbelievable thing is that he's about to put me out of a job, because it's not rubbish, but it isn't any good, because for a start, it feels like a lot of treading water. They essentially end up splitting up Tris and 4 for an awful lot of the action. She loses the agency that she always had, which kind of was the thing that drove the series. He gets to do the heroic stuff. And then there are long sections in which we stand around in sets that look like they've fallen through a rip in the time-space continuum from Tomorrowland, and everyone explains the plot to each other. And that is a problem for me, because it's, you know, the thing that makes these things work is that you get involved in the characters, you get involved in their, you know, their tribulations, you get involved in their fight. And in the case of Hunger Games, I thought it managed to hold that together. In the case of this, it was like, okay, we need to move on now. We need to resolve. We need to stop inventing new words for things that, you know, and we need to also accept that, you know what, this idea about the faction system, you kind of got away with it once. The second one had some good action sequences in it, but this really feels like more of the same.